Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable. CNBC-TV18 Adobe present Experience Makers.
Hello and welcome to Adobe Experience Makers, brought to you by CNBC-TV18. I'm Paromita Chatterjee. On the show today, our spotlight will be on reimagining real-time customer experience. Because in today's competitive business landscape, where companies are offering identical products or services, what will make a brand stand out for a customer in terms of a differentiated and yet customized experience? This is what is forcing businesses to rethink their businesses in terms of the processes that they are following, because customers have more power than ever in terms of how they acquire products, services in this digitally connected world. Traditional methods of engaging with customers are almost becoming obsolete, as customers are demanding a seamless, consistent, and real-time experience across channels. In the show today, we'll be exploring how enterprises can reimagine this real-time customer experience, which can drive loyalty, increase sales, and boost overall business performance. To discuss all that and more, we have with us today on the show Rahul Talwar, who is the Chief Marketing Officer at Max Life Insurance, and Sridhar Narayan, Head BFSI Adobe. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. Rahul, let me start with you. Share with us the key tenets in terms of really what comprises real-time customer experience in today's digital world.
Thanks, Paromita, and a warm welcome to Sridhar as well to this conversation. So I think interesting question. I'll straight away jump into it. I think consumers or customers within the life insurance space have largely been living through two parts. One, a fairly passive experience that they've seen in the past to today's heightened, personalized experience that's on offer. And second, overexposure of many other categories, which is also making our category respond in various interesting ways. At Max Life Insurance, Paromita, fundamentally, we follow two philosophies. One, an always-on approach when it comes to our customers to be able to ensure that we're tapping into the omni-channel experience that we have. And more importantly, being able to use digitization or digital as an enabler. Enabler in journeys, enabler in experiences, enabler in being able to drive the end outcome, which is customer satisfaction or customer happiness, whichever way we were to define it. Core to our communication for this particular objective, we ensure that we keep a fairly positive tone to communication because we have understood the fact that life insurance over time has dropped the entire halo of being a fearsome product, and there is more positivity around life insurance. And interestingly, with the new kind of customers who are coming into the fold, thanks to the entire millennial phenomenon, which is at the heart of this category, and the fact that even Gen Zs today are coming in afresh into the life insurance space, we fundamentally believe that making life insurance cool is an important need today. So bringing all of this together, I think an always-on approach for our customers, whether it's in communication or experiences, sits at the center of it.
Indeed, and as you said, really bringing in that tone of positivity while ensuring that the communication is really keeping it real time and keeping it in sync with what the customer wants. So, Sridhar, take it forward for us from here, because how does a brand, for instance, provide these kind of differentiated experiences while also keeping pace with what the customer wants and really providing the kind of content which the customer seeks without becoming obsolete?
Yeah, thanks, Paromita, for having me here. Thanks, Rahul, for some really good insights about Max India. So, if you look at it, Paromita, we are in the next level of the information age. We are at an age where I truly personally believe we are in a customer era, where today brands are putting customer right in the middle and imagining the experience around the customer, right? Now, in this era, the critical aspect is over a period of time, people have developed siloed applications which served their purpose at that point in time, right? But today, if we are going ahead and imagining the entire experience by putting the customer right in the middle, customer experience layer becomes one core aspect. The best way to enable customer experience layer is to see to it that this layer has all the interactions from various systems coming in together so that that becomes one layer of interaction to your clients today. That's the first aspect. Second most important aspect is how do you nurture this experience layer and grow it based on your business needs as they evolve, right? There are three things that we look at it from Adobe perspective. One is to look at how data helps rich insights about what customer is telling you, right? That will keep you in tune with the evolution. Second one is the kind of personalization that you could do based on the content, based on the data, as well as how all of these things come live in front of the customer in the nature at which he wants. Rahul spoke about millennials, right? Today, millennials are telling us a lot of things that know me, serve me, right? I'm willing to share the data about myself today, but I would desire an experience that I wish to have it, right? There is no compromise on that particular experience for brands today. The third most important aspect is where is the client at the particular juncture of the customer journey and how to go ahead and personalize using the data, right? If you're able to, brands are able to keep tune of these three aspects, knowing the customer better through data, what is it that I've got to personalize, where on the journey are the inflection points that I have got to help nudge the customer. I think this will evolve in itself over a period of time.
So coming to you now, Rahul, and to take Sridhar's point forward, at what point in that customer experience journey would you say you find yourself in currently, and how are you really prioritizing in terms of the goals and what you want to deliver? Because you can't give the customer everything that he or she wants or expects.
I think again, just to reiterate the point and picking up from what Sridhar mentioned, since we're keeping the customer at the center of pieces in terms of this entire journey spectrum that we have, I think fundamentally what we have understood from the customer is that the customer in the life insurance space is looking for convenience and is also looking for a lot of do-it-yourself experiences as he or she goes along. And this, by the way, we have seen across various demographics of our customer profiles. So fundamentally, picking up a lot of data insights that come from the world of customers and customer listening, we have been able to apply this sharp filter of prioritization that as to in the entire customer journey and the customer life cycle, knowing that our kind of a product and category is in for the long term. We are in a relationship with our customers anywhere from 5 years to 25 years to 40 years, depending when the customer is entering Max Life Insurance. We've been able to ensure that we digitize those touch points. We are also able to ensure very quickly, Paromita, that the principles of A/B testing on being able to apply on specific either customer segments or customer cohorts, trying to have different kind of behaviors. We are able to also arrive at a sweet spot as to what works best for our customers. And our larger learnings from the direct to customer business that we have, which is the space of e-commerce, has also ensured that we have found the sweet spot of this category, which traditionally was B2B, to now being B2B2C. So I think the confluence of these three things has been able to just give us the right prioritization filter of what gets choiced in for our customers at Max Life Insurance and what could stay out for the time being, while everything is important.
Can I ask you a little bit about sharing some examples, perhaps a memorable campaign? I mean, for instance, we all remember the "You Are the Difference" campaign that was run by Max. Can you share with us some examples where all of these elements sort of came together, giving rise to this kind of an effective campaign that really worked in terms of connecting with the customer?
Well, thanks, Paromita, for the question and bringing it on Max Life's You Are the Difference platform. So maybe just 10 seconds on what You Are the Difference stands for. It stands for celebrating the breadwinner. We have realized for the longest time that the life insurance space has had a male-dominated hangover when it comes to the breadwinner. So we have tried to universalize the definition of the breadwinner and trying to bring in the larger cohorts. Again, looking at the female participation in financial planning, becoming a very active conversation across households and across geographies. So within the You Are the Difference platform, Paromita, what we've done very recently on points that Sridhar spoke about, in trying to ideally find the sweet spot between the product, between the consumer or customer insight and the experience. is where we rolled out this entire campaign of bringing in the homemakers. And to be able to ensure that within the Max Life Insurance portfolio and in the larger space, we happen to be the first brand to offer term insurance to homemakers without asking for income proofs of the male breadwinner. And this is about term insurance. And we brought these pieces together. We looked at communication. We celebrated the women breadwinner. We also looked at the entire product experience and the buying experience, that how seamless can it be, and to be able to ensure that we take this conversation down within our B2B selling system and to our direct customers, is where we were able to carry this entire experience forward. Again, one of those examples where Max Life Insurance's progressive thought process on trying to be more inclusive, on trying to be ensured that we are able to find those specific niches in the larger life insurance space to be able to build out our leadership and our thought leadership. And obviously, there is a cross-functional hangover that's always around to be able to deliver this kind of an experience to the end consumer or customer, in this case being the homemaker.
Indeed, it was a very empowering, I mean, speaking as a woman, and a very powerful campaign. But tell me, in terms of the data insights, I mean, when it came to the actual genesis of this campaign, or even broadly speaking, how do you really go about culling those kind of data insights? Because while data is referred to as, the new oil, but there's so much of it, and many companies are sort of slipping a little bit on this data deluge, so to speak.
So again, fundamentally, what we looked upon three data from 3 points of views. One, Max Life runs this entire thought leader platform across a credible research ecosystem to be able to understand what are those insights coming in from various cohorts. That's the India Protection Quotient and the India Retirement Study that we run with our partners in Kantar. So that gave us interesting insights as to what this cohort called homemakers is looking for, and what are the barriers or triggers for them to participate in financial planning. Second, because this A category has been around for the longest while, and Max Life over the last 22 years has been having a very credible growth across various cohorts, we were able to pick up a lot of insights from those customers who were participating in this category, maybe as a family, as a household, to be able to understand what are those unlocks required for them to be able to have the right kind of life insurance. And third, most importantly, this entire piece of looking at analytics and a lot of insights from the larger ecosystem that we have, and partners which are there, which are able to guide us that as to what this wholesome experience for, say, a campaign like the homemakers needs to be. So again, to be able to triangulate all these pieces together, to be able to offer the right customized and personalized solution to our cohorts of homemakers.
Indeed. And Sridhar, really fascinating the way they've used analytics. In this case, Max has used analytics. And again, that's a challenge point. And many companies are asking themselves, particularly in this segment, about really how much should they invest? Which are those right technologies? Because they have legacy systems and there are new technology solutions coming up by the hour, almost by the minute. What should be a clear strategy in terms of investments in technology to really deliver these kind of optimum customer experiences?
Yeah, first of all, Rahul, brilliant campaign on You're the Difference. It sort of echoes very well across what you wish to do, especially on life insurance, where our coverage is at 3% in India, right? So, Paromita, just to elaborate a little bit on that, there are new terms which are evolving within the CX, right? One is pertinent to data is data democracy. When we mean to say data democracy, how organizations are looking at the same lens throughout, right? For example, everybody should look at the same set of reports. There's nothing that should happen manually, right? The report should be pulled out of the system and everybody should look at the same data. That will help in reducing the number of outliers. When people look at the same data, the decision making is a lot more easier. For example, just to take an example of You're the Difference campaign, if we had certain number of visitors coming into Max India portal at some point in time, right? All of them should look at the right data and look at what kind of messages that the customer is giving and what sort of actions I can take, right? That's sort of helps in reducing data silos. But now coming to your question, there's absolutely no one answer or one size fits all in terms of customer experience or the transformation that we are going through. Broadly, what we have seen is organizations want to look at evolving into let me start with the data strategy piece. Let me start with my content strategy, right? Let me go ahead and build customer journeys, or let me go ahead and do personalization at scale, right? Now technologies coexist and work together. So the investments, what organization could do is closely bound based on what they want to achieve in near time and what they want to achieve in the longer term. Near term, when we would say is 1 to 3 years, and long term is beyond 3 years. What's the kind of outcomes that they wish to measure? But we as Adobe always advise to the customers, no matter what investment you start from, be very clear about what you want to measure, how you want to measure and nurture so that it gives you the right outcomes, right? That sort of lays a very strong foundation to the organizations when we know what to measure from digital and how exactly I'm going to measure all hands on the deck to look at the reports in the right format, and how am I going to keep nurturing this over a period of time so that it continues to aid my business.
So, Rahul, getting back to your journey, and clearly, Max Life Insurance has been doing a lot of things right, and it is a learning for other companies as well. But having said that, I mean, looking at the BFSI space, and you find yourself there within it, I mean, there are some privacy norms. There is only so much in terms of, where the envelope can be pushed in terms of getting to know the customer, and real time in this case as well. How do you see your company really shaping the future for yourself, whether it is in terms of utilizing analytics, perhaps leading back more into the B2C space? How do you see your journey from here on, keeping some of the concerns in mind as well?
Thanks, Paromita, for the question. So at Max Life Insurance, our fundamental approach that I've been reiterating through this entire session, if I was to sum it up maybe in, say, a marketing language, in one line, it's going to be, we want to just ensure that we move from why life insurance to wow life insurance for our customers. So I think that's at a headline level. Obviously, respecting the fact that we have customers with us and across various touch points, there are various kinds of data points that the customer is leaving behind for us. I think safeguarding our entire customers' data is one of our primary responsibilities. And at Max Life Insurance, I would say that we have a matter of pride that we've got the right filters at play to be able to ensure that whatever data is shared with us by our customers, it's captured in meaningful formats, more importantly, and there are sufficient amount of security firewalls which are at play to ensure that we follow the entire privacy norms that are there in the category. That's the second point. And third, more importantly, I think picking up from two threads that Sridhar spoke about earlier, I think data democracy and the entire frame of internal silos within organizations. I think from a customer frame, you're looking at a seamless journey. So the idea is that across this entire organizational flow, which may be structured functionally, the customer needs to navigate as seamlessly as possible. So Max Life Insurance tries and efficiently works on this entire piece of making this entire omni-channel experience for our customers as seamless as possible. And through a lot of customer listening forums, for example, the entire piece around Net Promoter Score and the likes, we're able to pick up interesting voices of customers, whether our promoters or whether more opportunity areas that we may get from our passives, or maybe in few cases from our detractors, to be able to make this entire journey a lot efficient. And obviously, nothing gets completed without the icing on the top, which is social media, which happens to be today the biggest gateway of being able to listen to our customers.
So, Sridhar, then, I have to ask you in terms of, hearing from brands such as the one that Rahul represents. Clearly, they've been at the forefront in terms of really leapfrogging and utilizing the kind of solutions and platforms which are available today effectively to learn and really deliver to their customer. But what does the future look like, Sridhar, from here on? Particularly for the BFSI segment, what are those key trends which are emerging that companies need to capitalize on and build on starting today?
Yep. So great. Why insurance to wow insurance? That's a good one, Rahul. It's a brilliant campaign, another one. So coming back, Paromita, see, if you look at it, the BFSI segment, I think we are in a dream time of our lives, I would say, with respect to so many wonderful things the government is doing with regard to India Stack, how the ecosystem is coming together to serve a customer extremely well, right? And it's great to see that there are a lot of good work happening around such a regulated industry, right? So now, how do you leverage as a banking client in order to deliver superior experience, cross-sell, upsell? The challenges that the organizations face, we spoke about them much more in detail, but how does the future look like? In my view, the future looks like in a couple of areas, to keep it very simple, right? Data is going to be the king. As you rightly said, data is going to be the new oil, right? But how much do I know about my customer will help me look at pivot into newer businesses, or what services can I offer, right? To take an example here, let's say a product company traditionally used to sell a product. Now, there are product companies which have gone ahead and innovated and said, hey, a customer buys the next product from me. I want to understand what is he doing with this product over the next 5 years, 10 years, across the lifetime of the product. He's going to be consuming some of the services. Can I be part of those services? Can I offer those services? Can I expand myself into a service portfolio where I become a product plus services? This is the same with a service-oriented organization. An organization today which is offering a particular service to a customer, as they understand more and more about the customer, they probably can come up with evolving product needs as well to those customers. So these silos are getting merged between a product and a service slowly with some of the organizations. May not be true with life insurance, but with the other traditional organizations who used to manufacture product or who used to offer services. Now, what is it heading towards? The future is heading towards that the fact that when I know more about my customer, a lot about my customer, what is he going to do with my product? How does the future look like? And taking an example of our Indian startup ecosystem, that finding a problem and solving it. If the customer is finding some issue, can I solve it with a little bit of a service? Is what enhances. And today, thanks to the entire e-commerce world, the customer is willing to pay that extra bit of a service charge for his convenience. COVID has taught us one more thing, which is convenience. We are willing to pay for our convenience, right? So organizations understanding the data, pivot into various businesses, whether your product or vice versa, and look at offering a better service, charging a convenience fee, or whatever that could be, is a new area of business. So knowing your customer becomes very critical. The second aspect of Paromita is solving tomorrow's experience today. Can I go ahead and understand where will the customer be 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What challenges would he be facing, or what can I solve for him today? Can I fast forward and bring that a little bit more in advance so that I'm able to offer tomorrow's experience today to the customer? Are two things I would say will define the future for us in the area of customer experience.
Okay, final word from you, Rahul. You mentioned social media. I mean, what do you predict as being really your future channel choices? There was a lot of anticipation about the metaverse. I was speaking to somebody else in the insurance space, in a similar space, which is you're saying, listen, it'll always be physical, which will dominate as opposed to just pure play digital. And he believes those choices may also limit, some of those avenues that they choose to invest in for the future. What are you betting on as a brand?
So I think I'll keep it sharp to maybe three things, Paromita. One, like you rightly said through your earlier conversations, I think this category would always have a flavor of physicality of human touch, and that's because physicality of human touch is embodied in the trust, which is the underpinning point of this category because of the kind of customer life cycle times that we have. A policy contract may start from 5 years and go to upwards of 25 years, 40 years if you start young. So I think that fact is going to stay with us. The only question is going to be, how do you balance out the entire flavor of physicality of human touch, yet be able to offer an omni-channel experience to our customers and hence be able to respect the digitization that happens from the customer side, and like Sridhar mentioned earlier, to be able to take the customer in that direction in an enabling way. So that's the second point. And third, most important, I think thanks to the pandemic, thanks to the times that we are in, and the multi-category view that we have always seen in terms of various products and services that our customers are consuming, we need to be able to ensure that we are authentic when it comes to an always-on approach for our customers. And authenticity is something that really pays off in a subtle yet in a very important way. So I think that's the sum total of the way we see. Obviously, in terms of how much physical to how much digital when it comes to our communications engine or our deployments. I think there'll always be a very fine balance. But the idea is to be there where the customer is and to be able to be nimble-footed to move in that direction as fast as possible.
Thank you so much, Rahul and Sridhar, for joining us and sharing with us, more importantly, the roadmap and the key tenets to follow when it comes to developing and delivering on the kind of real-time customer experience which is required in today's competitive marketplace. That brings us to the end of Adobe Experience Makers, brought to you by CNBC TV18. Thank you so much for joining us.
CNBC TV18, Adobe present Experience Makers. Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.